I'm going to let you guys take it away. Tam and Julia, you're going to be talking about looking at history and what's happened in history that can teach us what to do now. So let's roll with it, guys.
Yeah. So let's just do our kind of roundup of words that are probably going to get used in this conversation. Unprecedented. Yes. We might throw
uncharted
waters. That's a good one.
Uncharted and uncharted.
But they didn't.
Tim,
they didn't nap. They didn't nap. It's awesome.
It's so awesome. Can you tell us who you are and what you do and where you live and everything else?
So my name is Tim Sarrantonio.
I love the background noise.
Father of three.
It's totally fine.
I'm Tim Sarrantonio. I'm Director of Strategic Partnerships at Neon One, which is a technology ecosystem that serves about 35,000 nonprofits. We do a variety of things. A lot of it is just overall fundraising management, and so there's a CRM. We do digital fundraising. That's what we work with the Rally, the Firefly folks, for instance. So Taylor, I know we're going to be talking more. We also do giving days too. So there's some data that I can share that's been happening there that is encouraging. But what's unique about what we're able to do is because a lot of companies, they only have like one thing that they do, right? Like they focus in and it's like, we're a CRM or we're going to do, Facebook fundraising or stuff like that. Neon One aims to serve pretty much the entirety of what nonprofits do, which means we have access points to data on a lot of different giving behavior. Mm-hmm. And I also talk with other institutional partners like National Council of Nonprofits, the Giving Institute, Fundraising Effectiveness Project, which is the big one that we did an economic analysis that we can talk about here in terms of giving behavior. So what we do besides just help people grow and kind of maintain is that we like to analyze trends when it comes to this type of stuff. And the biggest things that we saw historically, because my background.
Well, I'm going to share my screen because I have this.
You got the chart, yeah.
Can you see it?
So and the resource deck, Julia, I basically took the one that we presented on last Friday, and I took that one page out of it that links to this type of stuff. So this is something
I'm going to put the link in the chat to this chart that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it's a great chart. So I want to talk about the chart. I also want to talk about where historically we've been. I was actually before I got my start as a fundraiser, I wanted to be a labor historian. Actually, I was on my path to have a PhD and teach about labor history and all that type of stuff. So I'm always interested in terms of what's happening on not only the grassroots level, but just historically. I that's where my mind turns. And so one of the things that I looked at was and the chart here that you see here, that's not anything I did. People smarter than me put this together, and they'll talk about what this means. But there's two places that we need to kind of put our thinking around in terms of the times that we're living through now. The first is what happens during a crisis. Mm-hmm. So, what happened in fundraising during Haiti, right?
Yep.
And then the other piece,
or like Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Puerto Rico. And you can even go historically back, right? In terms of what happened. There was the mining disaster, if you watch The Crown, right? Like,
right.
Like, in the UK, there was relief funds that were set up around those types of things. So there's a lot of historical precedents on quote unquote disaster fundraising, but typically it's like a contained geographic area, not the entire world. But if you go back, actually, one of my favorite books that I've been citing a lot is Philanthropy. You can't even see it because
there you go.
The green screen, but Philanthropy in America. Mm-hmm. Amazing overview of like, why do we have a united way? Like where did foundations come from? Why is It's a great book.
Just listen. Okay, so I can't hear you. No.
Hi, Barbara.
Hey. Hello. So it's a great book, but a lot of the philanthropy that, as we know it today, can be traced back to World War I. And a lot of the structures and a lot of the things, even the idea of like urgency campaigns, a lot of it popped up around that time. Thermometers and stuff like that, a few years before World War I, with YMCA in around 1904 was a big campaign. They needed to raise $80,000, and these marketers basically were like, you know what, we got to jazz it up. We got to have a sense of urgency. We got to put people's names on the board and all that type of stuff. And so we still rely on those types of things today. But the other piece is what happens during a recession. And so what the Fundraising Effectiveness Project did, which is an initiative of AFP, Association of Fundraising Professionals, and it loads anonymized donor data on a monthly basis from 3 different software providers: Neon, Bloomerang, and Donor Perfect.
What's the link to that, Tim?
AFPFEP.org. It is not the most beautiful website, but
okay.
So good. Actually, it got better. Oh, good. And I think Stephen Shattuck oversees this, so good for him. Yes, it's a much better website now. This is great. So there's amazing reports, and so it analyzes both U.S. data and Canada data now. And cool. So this is probably the most accurate insight that anybody's able to have, because not only does it go across multiple parts of the sector, because Blackbaud has their own stuff, but it's only their product, right? So if you're not using Blackbaud, then you're not really part of that. Whereas I feel FEP is a better indicator, because it's like, it kind of doesn't matter who's using what. It's all the same types of data. And they end up being kind of the same anyway. So Blackbaud stuff is good, but I just think FEP is a larger data set to draw on.
Okay.
So when we looked at what happened in 2008, basically what happened is it basically did this. And so what this is a wonderful analysis that was put together by Jeff Brooks and Stephen Screen of the Better Fundraising Company. And Jeff Brooks has his own, he's connected to Moshianic and stuff like that. And what I love about this is it gives a visualization of what to expect, because this is pretty accurate across disaster fundraising and as it relates to what happened in the recession. So when we looked at Fundraising Effectiveness Project data, for instance, it pretty much did this too. There's an initial uptick in donations when everybody's in freak out mode, right? So that's what we're experiencing now, and we'll probably get an extra bump on May 5th, of course, because of Giving Tuesday now. And then what I think is going to start happening after May, and especially once we get into the summer, is that we're going to start to shift into phase 2. So what individual nonprofits, kids are spreading yogurt everywhere, it seems. So that's the update on our end. Yeah.
I heard my children screaming and throwing something at each other outside. So hopefully no one's hurt.
Cool. And if anybody on the chat wants to give us ideas on shows to watch, then throw that in there. I personally am growing to hate The Lion Guard on Disney Plus, but I digress.
Okay.
So what was really encouraging is what we saw in Arizona. So we run Arizona's Giving Day, and you can eat anything you want today. Just leave me alone. That's good. So what we saw in Arizona was extremely encouraging. So that giving event was on April 11th, so very recent. And pretty much what we saw was, let me grab the numbers because I have them handy. So processed donations online was about 2.5 million last year, 2019. They had if you look at the ticker from last year, it's going to be higher because they had matching gifts and they had, corporate sponsorships and stuff like that drive the number up. But in terms of individual donations, 2.5 million. This year, 4.6 million processed. That doesn't include the offline stuff. That doesn't include the corporate matching or anything like that.
And that was on April 11th?
Yeah.
Wow.
$4.6 million in one day for the state of Arizona, an 84% growth rate. And what was really encouraging too is they established a dedicated COVID-19 relief fund.
Yes.
Which drew, in terms of restricted gifts toward that, which in turn is unrestricted in what they do with it. And in turn, they give it away. But they're saying it's because of COVID. Do you want to give some extra dough?
Right.
They did about $150,000 just for that campaign itself.
Yeah.
So that's really encouraging because, and what's nice about giving events is that they can solicit not only transactions through a credit card, but also donor advised funds too. Yep. So it allows high net worth individuals to give, who typically that's where phase 3 is going to come into play. A lot of the kind of the uptick that comes back is that the market stabilizes. Yep. And rich people feel more comfortable to give again, basically.
Mm-hmm. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah. That's again, smarter people than me will have thoughts on that. But the interesting thing about Arizona though was, and this is the recommendation that I would like to make to people, is if there is a community giving day, and it doesn't matter whose platform it is, right? Just if you have a community giving day, join it. This is a really, really good time to join it, because the average gift of these is going up. More nonprofits are onboarding into the platform. And so they had about under 700 organizations last year that actually signed on to the site and then benefited from the giving event. 900 signed on this year. And what happens is that COVID relief fund is dispersed equally to everybody.
Right.
So this isn't a situation where kind of you see some of the cynical things where it's like, well, only the large organizations are going to survive this. And it's like, no, not at all. Not at all. I think, of course, we're going to see some organizations close, but the reality is that if people who are asking now continue through, you're going to get through phase 2 and you're going to be able to survive and thrive. And that's what we want to do. Yep. I'm very cynical and I'm very paranoid in a lot of different ways, but ultimately I am an optimist because we're hardwired to give, Julia. Yep. As humans, we're hardwired to give.
That's really exciting news. So have you seen any other giving days? Or is that, because I know a lot of giving days are happening in May.
So I'll tell you the biggest one that we're hosting. So Dallas is also showing some really, really exciting stuff. And
amazing.
So we're debuting some of this. So actually, Taylor's conference is actually getting a little bit of the exclusive here. But tomorrow, I was actually going to debut some of these numbers in our own virtual conference that we're doing for giving event hosts. So not individual nonprofits, but if you want to put on a giving day for your community. And so Dallas has been doing some great stuff in 2 primary ways that I think that funders should be paying attention to. Okay. Number one, they standardize their application for COVID relief funds across the entire North Texas region. So the United Way is using the same application as the Communities of Texas Foundation, and the same as they had a bunch of foundations come together and go, let's make one simple application.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yep.
Why didn't we do this before? This is where we're gonna look back and be like, yeah, funders, that's what we've been trying to tell you to do all along. And I love it though. I love it. Better late than never.
And we're seeing interesting applications of this in terms of what we've other community foundations and other foundations. For instance, Chicago Community Trust, one of our partners, Flux, provides grant making tools, and they have also a grant seeker tool that nonprofits can use for free. Yep. That then people can just manage their grant applications. But they also have, what's interesting is a feed where you can kind of report back on impact. what the Chicago Community Trust actually has seen is that they're using it almost like a Twitch stream in terms of their updates, where they're aggregating all the COVID things and seeing what other organizations are doing. Cool. So it's applying modern day communication techniques into very old school engagement. And so I love Flux. Corinne Mitchell, I did an exclusive interview with her that we'll be putting up online probably within a week that talks about this. So definitely check that out. But what was interesting is that when we go back to Dallas for a moment, they are having a big giving day on May 5th for Giving Tuesday now. And it's teaming up the United Way Dallas, which runs a $40 million day on Giving Tuesday, the Communities of Texas Foundation, which runs a $50 million day in September, and the Dallas Cowboys, who are going to probably be doing like live streaming on the platform. We actually extended that out for them for peer-to-peer. They have no clue what's going to happen. We do not know what the projections are going to be on that day, but they opened it up last night. And in only a few hours, early giving, they raised $175,000.
And they check their egos at the door. I love it. It's not like about United Way. And it's not about the foundations. It's about Dallas. And actually, we have someone in the chat. Yeah. Cameron says, we love our philanthropic community in Dallas, and our organization has already received our award from the Common COVID application.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. I've never seen as quick a turnaround as that. I think that's incredible.
That is really encouraging to hear, Cameron. Thank you for sharing that. We do a lot of work in Dallas. Our some of our partners are in terms of kind of who's making Neon One who we are based in Dallas. So
wait, are you giving us tips? We've got 3 minutes left. I want to talk about the future.
Yep.
As you see it. I now honestly feel so much better. I hope that this is lifting people's spirits, hearing about these amazing giving days and how they're activating communities. But where do we go? What are we doing? What's the future hold?
I think this is a perfect time to be focusing in on proper donor stewardship, getting the data right in your core database of record, and trying to align your digital fundraising into a strategy that is don't throw everything into digital fundraising completely. I do want to stress that. And Julia, I know you would back me up on that too, because and again, I'm just going to call it like I see it. There are vendors that benefit from that and talk only about digital. And it's like, you're going to actually hurt organizations if you just focus on that. So this is a time where go buy some stamps.
Please buy stamps. Support the post office.
Support the post office. They also have gifts. Letters. They have gifts. You can buy little like USPS trucks for your kids. It's awesome. They got a fun store. Yeah, we bought them. Our kids are obsessed with the mailman. But this is a great time to sit down and write some letters, and then do a video thank you. Like that. There's a lot of different ways that you can engage.
Multi-channel. Multi-channel.
This is a time to go back and look at your policies and procedures. This is a time to kind of dust things off and go. Look, we don't honestly have, we're not working, Julia, what's the phrase? I'm going to give it to you to say in terms of
we are not working at home. We are at home in a crisis trying to work.
Yeah. So be realistic about what you can do. Carve out your day in a way that you're going to feel you accomplished even just a little something.
Yep.
And focus in on that. And really what you need to do as an organization is prepare for phase 2, to get through phase 2, because phase 3 will come. And the people who got through phase 2 and actually, there's going to be a dip. So if you can plateau it, then you're going to actually ride that wave once it comes back. And that's the best advice that I can give in terms of that. But, be smart and fun and authentic about your digital communications, but don't drop the idea of you might not be meeting with people individually, but you could still send them a thank you card.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay.
So, all right.
I love it. Thank you. Well,
everything died down, and now I'm going to go help my kids. So.
Yeah. What are your plans for the rest of the day? What are you going to be doing?
Well, let's see. So I want to get them outside.
Yes. It's nice out here. What's it like where you are?
In upstate New York, it is nice, but a little chilly, but we'll do something. And then we've been meaning to make this caramelized onion tart for weeks. And so I'm finally going to do it. And then, you know, maybe I'll bake some more bread. That's what I've been doing.
Oh, you like to make that bread. I love it.
But I put beer in all of it.
So much bread.
I'm waiting for a beer delivery. So it's like,
nice.
You know, support your local breweries, folks. Support your local breweries, please. Because 46% of them might close if all of this lasts a few more months. So
I know.
Curbside pickup is a thing.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks, Tim.
I enjoy the folks from Boodle AI, another great partner in Neon One. So I'm gonna kind of like hand it off.
Segue into that. Hand it off.
Hey, Tim.
Yes.
Can you answer one quick question that came in? When do you expect phase 2 of giving to happen? Did we go there?
The phase 3.
Yeah.
The
I honestly
we can't know that.
I mean, it's we're in uncharted
waters.
Yeah.
But you know,
uncertain.
Well, we can pivot over to it. No, so to realistically answer that and not take Mike's time, I do think the summer is actually where it's going to be a dip. And I am a little worried about the fall in terms of like everybody's going to try to plan an event. So if anything, don't or be careful about that and focus on also doing supplemental major donor cultivation during the fall to gear you up for Q4, because it's going to be a massive Q4. I can guarantee. That's where by the end of the year we're going to see that surge. I will say.
Yeah.
And folks, there is also use the Zoom virtual backgrounds resource. That was fun. Well,
thank you.
It's also an equity thing too. It's an equity thing.
It really is. It's important, and I'm on the Brit with Jean-Luc.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. So we have professional, mission focused, and then just for fun. For fun. Maybe I'll dump the chart into
the chart in there. Why not?
Totally put the chart in.
I'm going to do that. Folks, try to figure out where I'm going to put it. That's why it's like a little Easter egg hunt for where the virtual thing is.
Yay.
Go find it.
Awesome. I see some other great questions. Folks, pop on over to my Twitter account and pose these to me, and maybe I'll do like a little video answering some of them.
We're going to do a lot of Q&A with all the panelists.
We're going to do a lot of Q&A. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks very much.
One thing I'll say too to that one of the latest questions that came in about messaging for Giving Tuesday. That is a topic of discussion tomorrow. So we are going to be talking all about Giving Tuesday with Julia, with New from the Nonprofit Pro. We're going to be and Jen, we're going to be talking about messaging, what to do, should you do it, should you not do it, and how to think through all of that.
And we also covered that too in a supplementary thing. We interviewed Kat Murphy Toms from Giving Tuesday and talked a little bit about that too.
Awesome.
So
cool.
All right,
thanks,
folks.
Tim.
Hey, and thanks for putting this together, folks. This was great.